Hi guys, welcome to the Average Pundits podcast, your home for all things Premier League, and Merry Christmas. This is your Christmas Day special. I'm here as always with Mr. Reese Williams.
Merry Christmas!
There we go, we're all in the festive spirit.
Santa's been, we got presents.
He has indeed. We're carrying on back from where we left off. The previous episode I was not featured on. It was a bang-up job though. Massive thank you to Sam Ozier, Alex Smith, and of course Reese for getting out a really good podcast.
You were missed, but you know we managed to pull out an absolute brilliant episode last week. So.
Yeah, duty calls, mate, duty calls. But we are back to regular proceedings this week, and we have an interesting episode this week.
We do.
We are shifting away from the usual format. Obviously, normally we break down the Premier League results, we do a bit of the hype train, and we go into our normal topic. However, this week we have a full episode topic. We've pre-recorded this podcast, so it's available to shift out on Christmas Day. So your regular kind of updates in the Premier League and the breakdowns and the stats and everything will continue at some point. But we thought, as the decade is nearly coming to an end, we are starting a new decade. We thought, what better way to see it off than to do our team of the decade? A very interesting topic. It's probably going to be a lot of debate going on, but I feel like we're ready to battle it out and see what we can come up with.
Oh yeah, you're going down.
Okay, so the rules of this, which we're going to go for, we're going to keep this as civilized as possible. It's open to civilized discussion. We are looking to build a starting 11 in the traditional 4-4-2 format. All midfielders and wingers included in that format as well. We are also looking to fill up a subs bench of 7 people. And finally, a manager of the decade.
Oh.
Any of you guys who disagree with our choices, we would love for you to get in contact. Please, you know where to get us at. You know to get us out on Instagram, on Twitter, YouTube comment section. We need it all. We need all the feedback. But Reece, should we get into it?
Are we ready?
Are we ready indeed?
I am ready.
So the first position we'll start off with. We'll start from the very bottom, and we'll start with goalkeeper.
Brilliant.
Now, I've got a few shouts, but I think there's one that's going to win it. I'm going to start with the one I think's pretty much got it. I don't think we can look past De Gea.
Absolutely.
David De Gea has been, if you look in the grand scheme of things over this decade, he has been quite often the reason Manchester United haven't finished in the mid-table.
I think you're completely right there. He is the wall at the back that Manchester United have.
Yeah.
There's not a lot you can't. You know, he had a rocky start to the decade, but how he's finished it, he's matured as a player, he's matured as a goalkeeper, and he's just best.
Yeah.
He is the best at the minute. Well, maybe not at the minute, but he has been the most consistent goalkeeper throughout this decade.
I feel like his individual performances and his amazing shot stopping, that sometimes he's been the difference. There was the scrappy 1-0 wins, the 2-1 scrappy wins. It's been down to him, and I feel like he deserves some praise for that. David De Gea very close to leaving Manchester United in the mid-late area of the decade to Real Madrid for a higher power to decide it didn't happen. I think that's the best thing that ever happened to us.
Yeah, honestly, if you would have lost David De Gea, I do think that you would be way worse than you are now. At the moment, you're struggling with him, but now that if you're in this position. Like if you had Ole and the exact same team without David De Gea, I think maybe mid-table. I'm not gonna lie, it would be a very big mountain to climb for Manchester United.
Yeah, I think it would be similar. I think De Gea may have slipped behind Alisson and Ederson due to the phenomenal performances of the City and Liverpool teams respectively. But I think individual performances, I feel over this decade, he's been very consistent.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can't put it past what he's done. He's won many Golden Gloves for the Premier League. He's kept clean sheets on clean sheets. And he's just been he has been the most consistent Manchester United player of the decade, I reckon.
Definitely with Manchester United player as well. I'd agree with that. There was a couple, 2 or 3 more goalkeepers I had in mind. Obviously, we are looking. We are looking to fill up a subs bench as well.
Yeah.
Joe Hart.
I would not say that due to the fact that he fell off 2014.
I feel like he did. It was around the 14, 15, maybe 15, 16. He was kind of like coming to the end. But I feel like in that early on, when Man City were getting this money, when they were getting that building, I feel like he was a phenomenal presence in that Man City team.
I mean, he was a very good, goalkeeper. I mean, that's what we thought anyways. Joe Hart was at one point the best goalkeeper in the Premier League, maybe 2012.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that.
But then you also shift that attention past what Petr Cech was doing as well.
Yeah.
Like, Petr Cech, I would say, is highly, highly regarded as a better keeper overall this decade than Joe Hart. He was still playing 3 years ago, like at a good level. Yeah. So I don't think that we can put Joe Hart past Petr Cech, what he was doing.
So would you say you'd sooner put Petr Cech on that sub bench than Joe Hart?
I would probably put Petr Cech there. Also, then you've got a veteran leader in Petr Cech.
You do.
Like, you've got a huge, massive voice that's got loads of experience, and can step up to in big game situations. Like, in case you get David De Gea, he's broken his finger or something. Petr Cech comes in for a couple games, and he can do a very good job.
Yeah. The only other goalkeeper I had potentially being a shout for was Hugo Lloris. I feel like Hugo Lloris was an excellent acquisition for Tottenham at the time. It was a big money signing, and one where I don't think anyone predicted Tottenham to land a player of that caliber at the time.
No. I mean, now he's a World Cup winner. Obviously not been able to win the Premier League yet.
Yeah.
I don't think that they will at this rate. I
don't think it's going to happen.
So, but again, a World Cup winner in his own right. He is a quality keeper. I do think Spurs are missing him at the minute.
Yeah. I think on his day, he's a brilliant shot stopper. Yeah. He makes a few questionable decisions in game, but I feel like on his day he's a phenomenal shot stopper.
Absolutely. I mean, if he stopped playing so much with his feet, I think that Lloris would be absolutely amazing. Like, there have been a few sloppy goals, like the one against Danny Ings, the one in the World Cup as well that Mandzukic scored.
Yeah.
A few questionable decisions, as you say. So, I think it is a toss up for the bench for Petr Cech or Hugo Lloris.
I feel like if it was between the two, I think I'd be more favourable with you and say Petr Cech.
Petr Cech.
I think Petr Cech is going to take that first sub position. I think David De Gea goes in the start of this team.
Absolutely. Those are the two names I've had written down, and as I say, you can't beat David De Gea in that starting 11.
I don't think you
can. The second most consistent goalkeeper that has played the majority of this decade. Obviously, you could just shove Ederson or Alisson in there, but they've only played the most 4 seasons.
We're on about consistency, aren't we?
Absolutely, yeah. And they're still both two very young goalkeepers that have a lot of longevity left in them. Yeah. So they can go into the 2020s and be the goalkeeper of the next decade.
How about we drift over to the defence? Should we start with right back? Start on the right side and we'll see what we can come up with.
Yep.
Now, I'm open to some suggestions from you first. I feel like right back's a difficult one. I've got a name down. I've got a couple of names
I have 3. First one I'm going to shout is Kyle Walker.
Okay, Kyle Walker. That was the name I was trying to remember at the start of this episode. That was frustrating because I just forgot
Kyle Walker.
I was thinking of.
I have one that's like slightly less of a shout. Trent Alexander-Arnold. Just because of how long he's been playing in the Premier League. Like, he's only been in the Liverpool team for 2 or 3 years.
I'm gonna have to stomp that fire out, mate. I don't think I can have him in the running.
Really?
Not that I don't think he's a phenomenal player, but I mean, he's only a kid, isn't he? And
he'll be one of the best players next season. Or next decade, sorry.
He probably will be.
Absolutely.
Do you have one more?
Antonio Valencia.
I'll tell you what, we've got differing right backs. Antonio Valencia, I feel like he definitely deserves a nod. He had a couple of seasons where he was actually pretty phenomenal.
Exactly. He was a very key part of that Manchester United defence. And as soon as he left, Manchester United struggled.
Yeah, there was a hole there. There was a hole. Like, and there was a hole we just didn't fill.
He is a very good player. Like, a lot of people forget that Antonio Valencia has been this rock at the back for Manchester United for years. And as soon as he leaves, there's this, you're playing Wan-Bissaka and Diego Dalot. It was
really worrying at times with him. This is a winger which converted to a right back, as a lot of players do. A lot of careers go that way. And it was a time where we were playing Valencia young at right back. We were just experimenting, and Valencia tended to. Well, after a while, he seemed to just occupy that position. Don't know necessarily whether it was because we had no one else.
I mean, he adopted it, and that is probably why he was so favoured as a captain as well, because he was able to step into that role.
The out-and-out right-back we had for ages was Raphael.
Yeah.
And then we didn't sign a right-back. So it was like, oh, okay. We had, like, Alexander Butner, who was a left-back who occasionally played over there. We had youth players who we played at right-back. But then Valencia was the man who occupied it. I mean, I don't think he necessarily is worth seeing this team. I think Kyle Walker is a brilliant shout.
Kyle Walker, absolutely, yeah.
Because he's been very consistent for Tottenham as just a consistent star in that team.
And then that earned that move to Manchester City for 50 million.
And it was a well-warranted move as well.
Absolutely. He's a
great player.
How many Premier Leagues has he won now? 2, 3?
Yeah.
He's a fantastic player. He can play in right-back or centre-back at this point.
I've got a couple more.
Okay.
Bakary Sagna. I think Bakary Sagna again had, he was a good player at Arsenal and Manchester City. Again, it's one of them ones where I feel like it's worth a shout, but maybe isn't going to make that starting team. However, my second decision I reckon could, Pablo Zabaleta.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Premier League winning right back. Kind of drifted off though, like we said with Joe Hart, drifted off towards the end of the decade.
Very, very prominent in that first half.
Absolutely. I think both of those shouts, they were very good towards the start of the decade, and then again they sort of just drifted off.
Yeah.
Whereas you've got players like Kyle Walker who've been consistent throughout the decade. They've been class throughout the entire decade. Hence why we haven't put Trent Alexander-Arnold in there.
Yeah.
Because if it was like if we were counting it like that, I think Trent Alexander-Arnold would probably go above those two as of this rate, anyways.
I think it's more of a seasonal one to include these people. There'll be a very similar argument coming up in defence very soon. In centre back, I can see it coming. But I feel like Pablo Zabaleta and Kyle Walker, I feel like those are the two right backs, which I think it comes down to.
Yeah.
It's tough because I do feel like Zabaleta deserves a lot of credit.
I think we should probably nail down a right back. I think the starting right back should be Kyle Walker.
Starting right back Kyle Walker, and then potentially Zabaleta makes it on that subs bench. Potentially,
I do think that Zabaleta. You know what? I'll compromise there.
We'll put Zabaleta down in the subs at the moment.
Zabaleta can be a substitute, and then Kyle Walker, I think, has to be the starting right back.
Mind you, we do only have 7 positions, so potentially we will at the end we will revisit the subs and we'll have a bit of a shake up and we'll see who makes it and not. Centre backs, we have 2 centre backs to nail down here, Reece.
Centre backs.
Now this is, I feel like one has to be in there. I think it'll be a crime not to put him in there. Again, similar argument. Yeah, okay, fallen off a little bit towards the later half of the season, but Vincent Kompany.
Yeah, I've got him written down.
It's done, isn't it?
It has to.
I mean, the pioneer, the leader, which led City into all of their success.
Yeah,
that and money. But
the good chic.
He was a very prominent figure. I mean, how could we not include him?
He is he's the rock of this Premier League decade. He is if you think of the Premier League this decade, him and another player that I have also got written down have been the players that have defined this decade. He has played throughout this decade, and I don't know how many times have I just said the word decade there, but yeah, Vincent Kompany he just couldn't be missing from this team.
No, I agree with that. I think Vincent Kompany is a smart inclusion, and I think it would be a crime not to put him in there.
Absolutely.
So we'll do him some justice, and Kompany is our first centre back. Yeah,
he has to be in there.
Now the second one I am struggling with because I've got names down. There's one name which I've not put in, which I'm guessing you might have done.
Can I say it?
You can say it.
Big Virgil van Dijk.
No.
What?
Decade?
Yeah, but you can't say that he hasn't been the best centre back in this decade. I
think I can.
Nah.
I mean, he's looked. Last season was phenomenal. This season, he hasn't looked very prominent. That may be doing him a slight injustice. He's still a great defender.
He's still fantastic.
But I mean, he's been nowhere near as prominent as last season. He was petrifying.
Yeah.
This season, I think Matip's outshone him so far.
Oh.
That's controversial, but I think Matip's been the more prominent defender.
Okay. I've got 2 more shouts. The ones that have been prominent throughout the entire decade.
Go on.
Cesar Azpilicueta.
You have him at centre back.
Yeah.
I don't. I have Cesar Azpilicueta in this
Okay.
team, but I have Cesar Azpilicueta at left back.
I have two other players at left back.
Give me the other centre back.
David Luiz. In his Chelsea run.
Oh, in his Chelsea run. I mean,
early Chelsea run and not his Arsenal run. When he came back to Chelsea as well, because when he came back to Chelsea, he was phenomenal.
Okay, right. I'll give you mine. Laurent Koscielny.
Okay, yeah, very consistent.
In the early to mid, I feel like Koscielny was arguably Arsenal's best thing.
Okay.
This one was recommended. I have two that were recommended to me by last week's guests, Mr. Alex Smith and Sam Ozio. We were having a conversation about this. Alex said the name John Terry, and I
was so tempted to put him down.
I really, really struggled to hear that because I was thinking, what? And then
he won a title. He won a title this decade, didn't he?
He has done. I was very confused, and I was like, oh wait, hang on a minute, hang on. Maybe he's got something there. Maybe he's got something
He's a Premier League winning defender in this decade.
So potentially John Terry.
Okay.
And then my other ones, I've got two more on here. Sam recommended the one. I've put the other one in there just to, it to be more of a toss up. I've got Jan Vertonghen.
Yeah, I was going to say Jan Vertonghen.
And I've got Toby.
Both Spurs.
Maybe less of the Toby.
Yeah.
Toby was, but then again, he was at Southampton before.
Alderweireld has been a very good centre back, but I don't think he merits being in the team of the decade. Obviously, starting at Southampton.
Yeah.
Merit in the move to Spurs. I think he's been a very good player. He's probably been one of the best players for Spurs this decade.
I'd agree with that.
But I don't know about putting him in the best team of the decade, especially when you've got names like John Terry in there.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll look more at the ones that we've got. Company solidified. Vertonghen, Terry, Koscielny, Luiz, and there was one more, wasn't there? Virgil. I'm going to write Virgil off.
Okay.
And
I will compromise him if he's allowed to be on the bench.
If he can be on the bench,
yeah.
I still don't think Virgil gets into this decade team. Mate, he's had 2 years of being insane. I mean, he was good at Southampton, but he's had 2 years of being ridiculous.
Yeah, he was good at Southampton, so...
Good at Southampton. I feel like...
He was class at Southampton.
I feel like... I mean, in no way am I comparing these two players, but it wasn't long ago that Chris Smalling had an absolutely... Listen, hear me out. He had an absolutely phenomenal season out of nowhere, ended up in the team of the year, and I was like, Jesus, this is some of the best football I've seen Chris Smalling play ever.
Yeah.
But
and now he's out the back alleys of bloody Roma.
Yeah, he is. But doing well though. But
he is actually having a pretty good season.
But
okay,
I honestly don't think Virgil makes it, mate.
I'll sacrifice Virgil van Dijk.
There is no doubt in my mind that if we did maybe a team of the last 3 years or 2 years, it's concrete. No doubt.
Without a doubt, he's team of the year. But
these last 2 years have been cool, but I want to know where the 8 years before were. True. And they were at Celtic.
I mean, he was smashing his free kits for Celtic.
He's been smashing it.
He's been phenomenal for the past decade.
He's a great player.
So I think we move Aspie into the left back contention.
Into the left back argument, yeah. So David Luiz, Laurent Koscielny, and John Terry.
Yeah.
And Jan Vertonghen, technically.
I would put.
Are we going to write Jan Vertonghen off due to title success?
I think so. Yeah, because I think Jan Vertonghen, I don't think he's merited. He's been a good rock for Tottenham.
Yeah.
No way has he. He hasn't got the success. He hasn't got the championship DNA that a lot of these other centre-backs do. I
think as well, I'm going to write David Luiz out, and the reason for that being the PSG stint.
Yeah.
And then, because before PSG, I feel like he was pretty good for Chelsea, and then he came back, he was okay. For Arsenal, he's been diabolical.
I do, yeah.
Awful.
I think this Arsenal run has been a very big detriment to his career.
Yeah. So I think David Luiz out, John Terry or Laurent Koscielny.
John Terry.
It is. Yeah. We're gonna go for John Terry,
and we can put Koscielny potentially on
the subs for Koscielny. Potentially.
I think for each position we'll
we'll have one, and then
we'll have one on the bench and
narrow it down.
Yeah.
Okay. So your centre backs so far in the starting team: Vincent Kompany and John Terry.
Yeah. I think two very big shouts for that.
Left back.
Now, I'm going to remove the one that I thought I was going to put in because I was struggling to think of another left back. But now I've got Azpilicueta.
I want to know who that name was.
Andrew Robertson.
Again, great player, but where's he been for the past 8 years?
Deluded Liverpool fan, coming through. But the big shout I have to say is Patrice Evra.
Okay. This decade, though.
Yeah, he's been really good. Oh, he was.
Only had a couple of two or three seasons at United, didn't he? This decade.
No, he was until like 2015, and then started playing for West Ham as well. West Ham?
I know Patrice Evra did have some wonder stints. I'm trying to work out in my head whether I feel like he was.
Obviously, he was there for. He was there for 2014, surely.
He was there in 2014. He left. He was there in the final Moyes season, and then he came back to West Ham 2018.
Yeah,
only 5 appearances for them though. So, okay, so 4 years. 4 years in the Prem.
Like, I mean, yeah, I did say this is probably contradicting myself for the Bakary Sagna debate.
Yeah,
but then Bakary Sagna didn't have the the prowess that Evra did.
You know what?
He's a leader.
That was not even on my radar. So that's a very. It's a very good inclusion.
And,
but then again, though, if we're going to include Evra in this, then Nemanja Vidic needs to be shouted at centre-back right now. But
when did he leave, though?
Nemanja Vidic, I mean, he was, again, I think he was around for the same kind of prominence.
I thought he was
Evra.
2012. He left in 2012, 2013.
I
don't believe he was...
Go to Inter Milan.
I do not believe he was...
No, he was, 2014 again.
Really? He was there for Moyes?
He was there. He left in 2014 again. I was certain him and Evra left at the same time.
That is crazy. I thought he'd left way before then.
I feel like Vidic goes in the decade before.
Oh, absolutely.
But for that same argument, I think you have to put Evra there as well.
I think I might have lost the Evra there, but obviously we've probably got both.
That was a phenomenal shout because those are Evra and Vidic, two of the best players in the Premier League.
I was going to
history.
put down Vidic, but I thought he left in like 2012.
Yeah.
So I didn't put him down for 2 years. But
Nemanja Vidic.
Vidic, he was great if he wasn't being put on his backside by Fernando Torres.
Don't recall that, mate. So at left back, then, do you have any other shouts? We've got Azpilicueta there.
So that's Cesar Azpilicueta. That's it.
Okay, I had one more.
Okay.
Gael Clichy.
Yeah, he's won Premier Leagues, but so's Azpilicueta though. I think you've got.
If we're talking general consistency, you maybe want to put Azpilicueta in for more titles. But Gael Clichy, I mean, I don't want to write him off. Again, this was another person, I believe, mentioned by Alex Smith, and again, I was thinking, oh wait, hang on a minute, no, hang on, there's some legs to that.
Gael Clichy, yeah, he's had some legs this season. You know, he's had a very lengthy run, starting off at Arsenal, and then coming into this Manchester. He was one of the first people to go across to Manchester City. Sorry,
yeah, he was one of the first to jump ship.
So I think longevity. I think the consistency of Gael Clichy doesn't surpass Cesar Azpilicueta.
I think Azpilicueta's going to make it.
I think Azpilicueta goes on the left back position.
Maybe Clichy down in that.
Yeah.
In that potential subs bench slot. So there we go, guys. You have got a goalkeeper and you have got a back four. Your goalkeeper, David De Gea. Your right back, Kyle Walker. A centre back pairing of Vincent Kompany and John Terry, and Cesar Azpilicueta as your left back. We've got a midfield two we need to work out here.
Central midfield.
Again, a very, very tough. Obviously, in this we've got no choice but to be brutal and ruthless. Yeah. We have to be. I feel like I've got one Oh, this is so hard.
I've got 4 shouts that I have potential. One I don't think is going to pass it. 3 of them have very good shouts. I think we've probably got 2 of the same ones though.
We may have 3.
Maybe.
We may have 3. I'm guessing David Silva's there.
No.
Okay. Now that's where I thought concrete was hitting. No, straight concrete.
I actually don't have David Silva. I mean, I do see where you come from, David Silva. David Silva is he's been phenomenal this decade. I didn't even think of David Silva.
Yeah.
I've gone Manchester City though.
You've gone De Bruyne.
Kevin De Bruyne, yeah.
KDB. Probably one of my favourite players to watch in the Premier League. It's so heartbreaking that he is at Manchester City, but it's something that we all have to live with and deal with. But it's just great to see him week in and week out in the Premier League.
I mean, that game against Arsenal was brilliant for him.
Mate, yeah. He ran the show, didn't he?
Fun fact, okay? That was his first brace in the Premier League.
Yeah, I heard that. That's crazy,
first
isn't it?
brace in the Premier League. It was phenomenal, but yeah, Kevin De Bruyne
just scores bangers for fun, though, doesn't he?
He does. He's such a good player. He's got the vision of an eagle.
But are we talking Kevin De Bruyne for the decade? Kevin De Bruyne previously having stints at Chelsea,
true,
and Werder Bremen, and Wolfsburg.
Yeah, it was Wolfsburg as well. Yeah, that's where he was.
Yeah, and that's where he was signed from.
Yeah. So,
again, it's every club in the Premier League's fault that he was signed. People saw this coming.
Yeah. So other shouts I have, N'Golo Kante.
Yeah,
you can't put it past him. You know, Leicester City. He was the key to that Leicester City winning the Premier League that year.
Leicester City's Premier League win was it 14-15?
Was 15-16.
It was 15-16.
I think, or it might have been 16-17.
De Bruyne came onto the scene in 2015.
Yeah.
So that's a good around 5-ish years at Manchester City now that he's been doing what he does.
N'Golo Kante is, I think it was at Leicester City for a season before they won the Premier League.
Yeah.
And then obviously the season after they all gelled as a team and won it. Going to Chelsea, winning another Premier League as well. Yeah. And he's been without shadow of a doubt the best central defensive midfielder in the Premier League.
I would agree with that. I mean,
for the past half decade,
and he's such a sought after player as well. I mean, I thought it was nothing short of a miracle that I could always see him go into PSG.
Yeah,
I could always, and it probably just is because he's a very prominent French player.
Yeah, he's French.
I thought PSG would throw silly money at them to get him. I mean, Leicester won the league in 2015-2016, and that's when Kante was part of that team, and that's when we first saw him. Kevin De Bruyne emerged on the scene for Manchester City in 2015. These are two players which have had 5 years, so half a decade
of dominance,
of dominance in the league. David Silva's had even longer. David Silva has to go in there.
Okay, I can see that. I have two more shouts.
Go
on. This is probably, again, Liverpool fan in me.
Don't say Fabinho.
No. We're going even worse.
Don't say Milner.
Steven Gerrard.
From
2010 to 2014, he was one of the best central midfielders in the Premier League.
Steven Gerrard. I'm not going to.
Yes, this decade is the slip. This decade was where we fell. This decade was where he captained the side to lose an 8-point lead in the Premier League. But he was. I mean, obviously, he would have gone in the last decade's team.
Yeah,
absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt.
He's in there.
This year, this decade. I thought I'd throw his name in the hat.
I think he's very worth a shout.
Yeah,
but I think you're going to put up Steven Gerrard with Kevin De Bruyne and Kante. I think it's going to be tough.
This decade, Kevin De Bruyne has been better than Steven Gerrard.
Where's your other name?
Yaya Toure.
Oh, damn. Okay, that's a good one.
There was that season where he was absolutely phenomenal.
He scored like over 20 goals, didn't he?
20 goals from CDM.
Oh, no. What have we done? Okay, Yaya Toure. It's looking like a Man City 2, I think. My God, this again. You guys are experiencing the struggle with us. This is how brutal and ruthless this is.
Or do we switch up the formation and put 3 in the middle?
I think we got to keep it traditional, man, because we get our wingers and we get more goal scorers. Because again, we're going to have a job at striker as well. I think.
Yeah. See, central midfielders and strikers are going to be the hardest ones to do.
It is going to be tough. So
if we have to be cutthroat and ruthless, I say we go. Yeah, I can't not have Kante in there. Kante is phenomenal.
You can't not have him in there.
No,
I don't think he makes it.
Oh, you don't? I think he's better than this. He's been better than KDB this decade.
Nah, false. that is such a horrible argument to make. But I feel like the stuff De Bruyne does with a football, I feel like De Bruyne and Hazard were the two best in the league.
But then the stuff that Kante does off the football probably outweighs that.
Covers the. Oh yeah, you're right. Covers the whole pitch. But Yaya Toure has been so consistent for Manchester City, so very consistent for them. And
when did he depart though?
Oh yeah, Yaya Toure didn't even leave that long ago. He's been so prominent in that team. I just don't know if there's any scenario where we can't have him.
Pretty sure he left
there.
in like 2017.
2018. He left in 2018, and he's been there since 2010. Yaya Toure's in there.
Okay, Yaya Toure.
It's got to be David Silva as well. David Silva again. I never thought I'd be so passionately arguing the inclusion of Manchester City players, but I mean they have been the team of the decade as well. Pretty much.
Absolutely. I mean, we said this on last week's podcast that Manchester City just have been the team of the decade. I will agree with David Silva.
Okay, David
Silva
Silva's
has to be in there, and also Yaya Toure. However, I would like to put, because we're going to have a pool of players on the bench.
We're going to have a pool of players, so both of those two names go on the bench.
I want KDB and Kante. Kante especially on the bench.
I think that is more than doable. This is going to be a tough call to get the subs bench going. But there you go, your midfield two. Central mid, defensive midfielder in Yaya Toure, but then again also very attackingly prominent. That's why he's got to be in there. And then David Silva, the absolute maestro over this past decade, he's in there as well. Okay, should we go to left midfield?
Left midfield.
Eden Hazard.
Yeah, I've got Eden Hazard down.
Is that even contestable?
No, I mean a lot of people would say Mane as well, but he hasn't had the. He's been steadily climbing for the past half decade.
Again,
but nowhere near nowhere near touching Hazard.
Again, Sadio Mane at Southampton before Liverpool, so he has been in the Premier League for a while. But Eden Hazard's been one of the best players in the Premier League ever.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think you can even contest the left winger.
It depends on where you play certain players, because certain players, certain wingers especially, are prominent for switching up their positions. I mean, players that have played in that left wing position over the years as well. I mean, one name that I had, the boy, one name I had in that general area. And again, not that I thought he was ever going to get in my team, but I could not say Coutinho.
I mean, yeah.
But he was also a midfielder.
He was a central attacking midfielder.
More of a cam. But a great player in the Premier League, but probably not of this calibre.
Who do we bench? I think Mane would be a close second. He's been very good, especially for Southampton. He's got the quickest hat trick in Premier League history now, and that happened this decade. Yeah, for Southampton.
It's tough. Does Alexis Sanchez make left wing? Because also started off as more of a right winger, but ended up playing more towards the left.
I mean, he left Arsenal in 2018. Yeah. To go to Manchester United.
I mean, we all know how that turned out. I mean, but for Arsenal, since he was signed, he's given us some great Premier League moments. Can't take that away from him.
No, I don't think I can argue it, to be honest.
It's tough.
It's really tough. Mane or
Alexis Sanchez. I mean, if you're asking that question now, you're laughing, aren't you? Yeah. Because you know exactly who you're going for. You put your money on.
But then Sanchez has had multiple team of the years, team of the season shouts. Yeah. So you can't put that past him.
A prominent player at Barcelona before that.
I think that would be too biased to put Mane in there.
Are we going to put Sanchez on the bench for now?
I think we put Sanchez there.
Sanchez, that is one name at the start of this that I was really debating whether or not would make it into our argument, but fair enough.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with putting Sanchez there.
Okay, so we are putting Mr. Eden Hazard as your left wing position. I think that's going to be pretty unarguable for that one. What are we saying for right wing? There is a few names. I'll tell you what, I've got a couple.
I'm gonna throw one name out there. Probably, I'm not sure if Raheem Sterling.
I think that's my one.
Yeah.
Raheem Sterling is one of the best players in the league. If not, I'm not gonna say he's the best in the league, but like top 3.
Without a shadow of a doubt, yeah.
Top three. Top five.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got to be.
He's 100 million plus player. He's probably arguably England's most valuable player. You have 3 England players which equate to that kind of value.
Oh, absolutely.
With the England's front three with Sancho, Kane, and Sterling. Probably Trent's knocking around there for value as well. But those players are worth so much money.
Yeah.
Raheem Sterling starting at Liverpool. Left Liverpool on very poor terms. Didn't leave on the best terms. Did what he thought was right for him. The money was coming in there. He was going to get paid a lot more.
It was a right move. We didn't offer it. We kind of disrespected him with wages.
Yeah.
I think he deserves. Look at the player he's now.
Yeah.
Like we've got Salah, but Raheem Sterling, what a player he is. Like the stuff like I said, with Kante, the stuff he does off the ball, the dummy runs that he does, opens up the play for, the Kevin De Bruyne to come in and are able to score the goals.
I remember his first touch as a City player. I remember him bottling, falling over a bit. I know it was a source of. Then all of a sudden, bang, 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 and then it becomes this great player. A player which has also been so heavily talked about in the media, a lot of the times in the wrong way, and it's been it's difficult to see all of it because you just want to say, look at the player you've got in front of you. Don't disrespect this man.
Exactly.
He's phenomenal.
Yeah, I love watching Raheem Sterling. I always have done.
Yeah, he's a great player.
Since he debuted for Liverpool. I've loved seeing him play. I watched his debut live. As soon as he came out, I was like, I love this guy. He is so good.
Another potential player who can switch over to the wings as well. He can switch wings, but right wing is his home, isn't it? Mohamed Salah.
I have Salah down.
Yeah,
as a potential.
Mo Salah. It's again a player which joined Liverpool not very long ago. A player which joined Liverpool in a move which I think everyone's like, oh, okay, yeah, good signing.
Yeah, but then everyone was like, pointing to the flop at Chelsea.
Yeah.
He had a really bad season there.
And then all of a sudden...
Goes off to Roma. Tears up the Champions League.
It's into Fiorentina as well, didn't he?
Yeah, went to Fiorentina first then. Wasn't really cutting it out. And then went to Roma, started making a name for himself. If
we're talking marketable players... I think this is on a side note here. There are 3 players in the Premier League recently, which I think have been genius moves, not only because of value and talent of the player, but marketability. Salah has unlocked the Middle East and Northern Africa in a way which I have never seen. I've been around a lot of areas around the Middle East and North Africa, and you can't turn your head without seeing billboards. Adverts in shops. He's promoting this, that. He has the same presence as Cristiano Ronaldo in those countries, which is incredible. I mean, Ronaldo's Ronaldo.
Yeah.
But Salah and himself, again, an amazing signing for marketability. I mean, the amount of Liverpool shirts with his name on.
Absolutely.
Heung-min Son at Tottenham. My God.
Yeah.
Unlocked. He's unlocked Asia. There's the amount of Korean fans who flock to Tottenham to see the South Korean hero perform, and what a player as well. Yeah. I mean, if only he was in the Premier League for longer, he could have been in this team for a shout,
I
maybe.
do think that he could be.
Yeah, brilliant.
He's phenomenal. He's so good.
And then the other one that I'm going to mention, this only very recently happened. I mean, we've got a lot of news which is happening in football at the moment. We've got managerial appointments. Ancelotti's looking like he's going to Everton. Mikel Arteta to Arsenal. That is a whole nother conversation we will have in a future episode.
Absolutely.
And then Liverpool have just had a little signing. Liverpool have just signed. Is it Minamino?
Minamino, yeah.
Minamino
from Salzburg.
From Salzburg.
Salzburg are about to lose 2 big players.
They're about to lose 2 big players, and that Minamino again. Asia is another. Again, you unlock Asia.
Yep.
And again, it's a really marketable player. It's low risk. It's 7 million you're paying for him.
I was so shocked how cheap we got him for.
Really good. I mean, again, it just screams Jurgen Klopp genius. And the amount of shirts which are going to be sold with his name on in Japan and Greater Asia, it's going to have a similar presence to Son. I can see it now. But I mean, he could flop. We don't know.
He could.
But again, marketable genius. That was a slight tangent there from me.
7 million to probably make 70 million back in shirt sales.
Yeah, probably.
It's a smart business move. I mean, I don't condone using football teams for business, but you look at it, and you do have to credit it.
Right wing. Are we going to say Raheem Sterling?
I think Raheem Sterling. I reckon we put Mohamed Salah. I mean, I would put in. I mean, he only played 3-4 seasons in the Premier League this season. But then so is Mo Salah, Gareth Bale.
Yeah, Gareth Bale was another shout. Gareth Bale is another person in there.
But I'm not sure. I mean, the best that he's done was at Real Madrid. I think he was still trying to rise at the point of him. Like, he had one really good season at Tottenham, which earned him the move.
Yeah.
So I think we've got to put Raheem Sterling in there. He's been the most consistent player in the Premier League.
I think Raheem Sterling starts, and I think Salah does go on the bench. That's a decision which could have gone either way, potentially.
It could have. Like, the Liverpool fan in me loves both of them.
Yeah.
You know.
That's interesting. I know a lot of Liverpool fans who hate Sterling.
I love him. I honestly, I have a go at every single player. People like that I know. They go, I don't like Raheem Sterling. He left. I was like, why? Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Like, if you don't love a club, like if you're not a fan of it, like Steven Gerrard, he was close to leaving for Real Madrid, but he didn't because he loved Liverpool as a club. But Raheem Sterling obviously doesn't support Liverpool. He's not from Liverpool. He's not going to stay. Yes, he was brought in at a young age and moulded into the player he is now.
Yeah.
But he was never going to stay. He was offered more money. We disrespected him with the amount of money that we tried to give him.
Yeah.
He is a top player. He could have been what Mo Salah is now. I don't think we would have Mo Salah if we signed him to a contract and offered him 100k a week.
Yeah, I'll argue that, mate.
So, he would have been the Liverpool legend if we'd have offered him the right money.
Well,
but we didn't.
There you go, guys. Your midfield has been completed. You've got Raheem Sterling on the right, David Silva and Yaya Toure in the middle, and Eden Hazard on the left.
Yeah.
Now for the great striker debate. Again, there are names. I feel like we're going to end up with the same two starting.
Yeah.
And then it's who makes the bench, because there are so many arguments about who else you could put in there.
I've got.
Should we start with the obvious?
Well, Sergio Aguero has got to be there.
That's the concrete.
I mentioned earlier there were two players that define the decade of the Premier League.
Yeah.
And Aguero and company are those two.
Yeah.
This team would be incomplete without Sergio Aguero. He is, like, I know you like to say that Lewandowski is the best striker in the world at the minute. I don't think so. Sergio Aguero is the most prolific goal scorer in the world right now. I mean, Lewandowski, don't get me wrong, he can score loads of goals. He's had Bundesliga though. I think you stick Aguero in the Bundesliga, he scores more goals.
I mean, Lewandowski's a player which I thought was at Madrid a long time ago. I thought he would have ended up at Madrid by now, which would have maybe unlocked more credit for him. Yeah. I feel like he's always been regarded as a phenomenal player, but he's always been slightly under the thumb.
But then you think, right, he probably wouldn't be this player if he didn't have the coaching of Borussia Dortmund. Because if you look back at the beginning of the decade, he was saved from going to Blackburn because of an ash cloud. Yeah, I think he'd be a championship player at this point.
That is very interesting. That is a bold statement.
Because the managerial and the coaching staff at Blackburn are nowhere near the standard of Borussia Dortmund. They would have moulded him into the player he is right now, just like Tottenham did with Harry Kane.
Is that the other person that got
Harry Kane, obviously, but like Sergio Aguero was always promising from a young age, didn't he? He won a Golden Boy award, didn't he?
Yeah, I believe he did.
He won a Golden Boy at Atletico Madrid. He was always tipped to be promising. Yeah, he was always going to be this good.
Yeah,
Lewandowski was an ash cloud away from being Timu Pukki. Honestly.
Sooner or later we'll have Average Pundits merch with that quote. That's gonna be a top seller. I'll tell you what, mate. That is a very, very passionate argument there, and I can see definitely where you're coming from. I love Lewandowski as a player. I feel like Lewandowski would be a lot further in his reputation career, in terms of reputation purely, if he would have moved league. But some players do that. I mean, but then again, you've got Lionel Messi, who stayed in the same league his entire career, and look at how he's regarded.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
It's a big argument, but we are talking about Aguero and Kane, and that is exactly where I thought we were going to end up, and I'm not mad about that at all. No, I'm not mad about it. But there are plenty of other players which could have been there.
Yeah,
I've got 3 on my list.
I've got 3, but I think I've missed one out. It'd be very unjust for me to not say Wayne Rooney as well.
Wayne Rooney was on that. I feel like Wayne Rooney is the third.
Yeah, I do have 2 other shouts. They didn't have a long stint in the Premier League this decade. Didier Drogba.
I did not have him on there. Did not have him on my list, but that is a very good shout.
Luis Suarez.
Okay, I had one more. I had Robin van Persie.
Van Persie, yeah.
I feel like those 3 players, the Van Persie, Suarez, and Drogba, I think they're all in that same grouping there.
Yeah.
Luis Suarez has had a very, very predominant career. He's been very, very good for Barcelona and when he was at Liverpool. Surrounded by a lot of controversy at Liverpool.
He had a
slightly less controversy at Barcelona, but not nothing.
He had affiliacy with biting people.
He did, which is again a very extremely bizarre even to this day, but it happened. And that and a couple of racial incidents, which again you never like to hear.
You know.
But talent alone, again, I think he's good. I feel like he's going to miss out on this team.
I think Luis Suarez, yeah.
But I mean, nothing's going to take away, because I mean, that same season, in that same regard, Luis Suarez went over and carried on proving himself in another league. Daniel Sturridge didn't do that, but that season as well, Daniel Sturridge again was phenomenal. So again, another a name to say. Oh,
Daniel Sturridge,
a great time to remember.
Went to the same high school as him.
Yeah. Oh, you did, didn't you?
Yeah.
Same high school as Daniel Sturridge. There you go. A little stat for you guys.
Had office run with his cousin. Big up Savannah.
Yeah, little stats for you there. But yeah, I mean, not that he's included in this argument, unfortunately. But Daniel Sturridge again. I mean, while Suarez was performing, he was also performing. So I think Suarez, I'm quite comfortable to say he's going to miss out this.
Yeah. Drogba,
Rooney, and RVP. Robin van Persie came in and he did absolute bits at United, and he won a league.
I mean, you can't really put it past him. But then Wayne Rooney's been that guy that's been the Manchester United golden boy, and then also he had a stint at Everton that he was pretty good for as well.
Yeah, and I mean, there's every chance if Derby get promotion, we could see Wayne Rooney in the Premier League one more time. Yeah, because he starts playing in January for Derby, doesn't he? There's every chance we could see if Derby managed to get promotion, which is tough, but it could happen.
He could be the first. Would it be the first player to play in 3 decades in the Premier League?
I don't know.
That'd be weird.
That's something which I don't.
We'd have to stat check that. But if Derby County get promoted with Wayne Rooney and he plays in the Premier League in 2020, he could be the first player to play in 3 separate decades. That is a mental stat.
That's weird. There's got to be someone else who's. No, I know. What?
Maybe
what?
Brad Friedel? No.
I don't know.
No, yeah. Brad Friedel played in 2.
Was he not in the 90s? I don't know. This is something which we are going to stat check.
Yeah, I need to do this.
We're going to have
because I'm actually really intrigued about that.
We're going to have this on Twitter later today. Wow.
That is crazy.
If it is, I'm rooting for Derby to get promoted.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
What a stat. Rooney, RVP, and Drogba. How predominant was Drogba in this decade?
They won the Champions League. 2012.
Yeah.
He was the final. He scored the goal against Bayern Munich to take them to extra time and penalties, and he scored the winning penalty.
And 2 stints at Chelsea. Two stints at Chelsea in this decade.
Yeah.
So I mean, he left in 2012 and went over to China and Turkey and did what he did, and then came back for that 14 to 15.
Didn't they? They won the league that year.
For 14 to 15,
did they win that?
They did. They did.
Yeah. He came back and won the league.
It's Drogba, isn't it?
It's got to be Drogba. He is. I love.
No, Rooney.
So RVP's out the question for the bench.
I'm gonna put RVP out for now. That's really
Rooney
heartbreaking.
or Drogba?
Wayne Rooney or Didier Drogba. What a horrible argument.
If we put obviously decade before those two would be either Kane and Aguero. Those two would be those. And then we'd probably put RVP on the bench.
You know, I'm putting Rooney and Drogba on the subs bench right now. I'm going to put both of them there, and then we're going to see how this is looking.
Okay.
Right now, I don't know if you're counting the same number as me. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players on the subs bench. Those are three names we have to get rid of.
Okay.
I'm going to remind you guys of the team that we've completed so far. So we have got in goal David De Gea. In the back four, you've got Kyle Walker, Vincent Kompany, John Terry, Cesar Azpilicueta, Raheem Sterling, David Silva, Yaya Toure, Hazard, and then finally up front, you've got Kane and Aguero.
We will put a graphic on the Instagram and Twitter for you to check out on Boxing Day.
Tell you what, there was one more midfield option which I remembered in my head, but now that I'm seeing it, I don't think it would have been as predominant. I mean, Fernandinho has been a good player in the league, but I'm gonna write that one off right now because I remember that was on my list.
I thought you were going to say Jordan Henderson.
Oh God, have a day off. Okay, so one of those positions has to be occupied by a goalkeeper.
Yep, Petr Cech is already Petr Cech safe.
Petr Cech safe.
All right, Petr Cech is definitely safe. I think we go for goalkeeper, 2 defenders, 2 midfielders, and 2 attackers for the bench. Yeah, or we get rid of one of the attackers, so we can have a final debate on Drogba and Rooney, because I really want that.
Okay, right. Let's have the 3
2 defenders, 3 midfielders.
We've got 3 defenders on this list. We've got Pablo Zabaleta, Laurent Koscielny, and Gaël Clichy.
I get rid of Koscielny.
Oh, Koscielny.
Just because of the lack of trophies.
Yeah.
Honestly, when it comes to decade, that's all football matters now. Trophies. That's why Wenger.
I think a lot of people would look at that Koscielny now and they'd be not happy with that inclusion anyway.
Zabaleta. I mean, obviously he's still playing now. So he's just going to be there. Like, he obviously he's petered out now. He's got his coaching badges now as well.
He does.
So
I personally feel like Zabaleta has to be on this bench.
Yeah.
But Gaël Clichy and Koscielny, I think, could be dashed. But then again, that's 2 players you've got rid of there.
It's a toss up here. I think Koscielny leaves and Clichy stays.
But how can you have a subs bench without a centre back?
Zabaleta can play there. No. Or we dash both of them off and include Virgil van Dijk. I'm kidding.
Or, and I'm going to really throw something into the mix here. Pablo Zabaleta starts in your starting 11. Kyle Walker also plays centre back.
No.
He does, mate.
Zabaleta cannot start ahead of Kyle Walker. You can't do that.
Seriously?
No, you cannot do that. Kyle Walker's he's been way better than Zabaleta.
I'm talking practicality, mate. I'm talking you have that centre back / full back figure on your bench, and you have your out and out right back starting.
I mean, to be fair, if you look at impact, Zabaleta had more of an impact than Clichy, and Koscielny probably also, whilst at Arsenal this decade, has had a bigger impact than Gaël Clichy. So, okay,
Clichy goes.
Gaël Clichy.
Gaël Clichy goes. I'm going to say Koscielny being on that bench again. That is a very.
It's controversial.
It's controversial.
I don't necessarily think that he should be there based on trophies. Lack of.
Yeah. I can see.
And the disrespect that he left Arsenal fans.
Again, that
was. I mean, looking from an outsider's perspective, that was funny.
Can never be forgotten. Petr Cech, Zabaleta, and Koscielny are there at the moment. De Bruyne and Kante.
I want to keep them both.
It's seriously.
I mean, we're going to keep 3 midfielders.
I think there's a name on this list that I think is going to go quite easily.
Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah. Are we getting rid of him now?
Yeah.
And that's,
I'm quick to do that.
And again, that seems really disrespectful to do that, but I don't know why. It's just calling out to me.
I think the reputation of his Manchester United run just really dampened his career. Like, he was so highly regarded, playing the glory, Man United, on the keyboard.
No one can disrespect that signing video. Manchester United are the kings of the signing videos.
Oh really? That was fun. I was honestly I was laughing so badly at that video.
The boys.
It was so bad.
Oh, mate. Goosebumps, mate. Goosebumps.
I get those goosebumps. Sorry, we might get demonetized for
that. We're looking at 8 people on the bench now. One of these people has to go.
It's the big debate. I want Rooney going.
How heartbreaking is it getting rid of one of these players and Koscielny stays, though?
It is so true.
But you need a centre-back, don't you?
You do.
You need a centre-back in there. We're going to bring Jan Vertonghen out of retirement and contest it. But again, Jan Vertonghen and Koscielny. Jan Vertonghen's been longer, has had consistency for longer, but both of them have had no trophies.
Yeah.
Koscielny's had more trophies.
He's had FA Cup. He's had like 4 FA Cups this decade.
He's had FA Cups, hasn't he? So Koscielny is in there. Are we seriously coming down? De Bruyne and Kante, are they both staying?
Yeah, I don't think like a midfield bench without Kevin De Bruyne and Kante. You can't have that. Like, they have been consistent for the last half decade, and they will continue to dominate into the 2020s.
Oh, hang on a minute. So who have you got on the bench? Just recap me.
Petr Cech.
Yep.
Pablo Zabaleta.
Yep.
Laurent Koscielny.
Yep.
Kevin De Bruyne.
Yep.
N'Golo Kante.
Yep.
Mohamed Salah.
Mohamed Salah, Rooney, and Drogba.
So there's one more we need to cut. And I think with the formation that we've gone with, if we'd have had, actually no, yeah, we probably would have still had one striker, but with the formation we've got, we have to have more midfielders.
You are right that a striker has to go. Wayne Rooney or Didier Drogba.
So how many league titles have Manchester United won since 2010?
In this decade, one.
What, in this decade?
We've had one. Chelsea have had more, but Drogba hasn't been there for all the Chelsea.
Yeah, so
titles.
Drogba's had 1 or 2.
I think Drogba may have had 2.
So they've had 2 plus a Champions League win, and he has been top goal scorer in 2 of those seasons. I think if you're looking at it from out and out striker perspective, you want someone to come in and score goals. It's got to be Didier Drogba.
But Wayne Rooney's impact on the league. I mean, again, the year before, probably more prominent.
You'd probably think that he's like fallen off since, like, without a shadow of a doubt, he would be the striker of the 2010s.
Drogba, he won 4 FA Cups, 2 League Cups, and Premier Leagues with Chelsea.
But was that this decade?
Not everything was this decade. Not everything was this decade.
I'm guessing an FA Cup, a Champions League. Did you say 1 Premier League or 2? It is just Drogba, isn't it? I know you love Wayne Rooney. I know you love, I have had to sacrifice so many Liverpool players.
You sacrificed, but then again, those Liverpool players have been 1 season, 2 season players.
Steven Gerrard was, 5.
Apart from Gerrard, but then again, though, we're putting Gerrard up against Yaya Toure and Silva. They're winning every time. We're putting Gerrard up against Kante and De Bruyne. They're winning every time.
Yeah, I mean, we're putting Rooney up against Drogba, and Drogba's going to win now.
God, no. Wayne Rooney's like the
Wayne Rooney is in the same bracket as Steven Gerrard.
A top goal scorer, man. Wayne Rooney.
What's Rooney done this decade?
He scored that absolutely incredible goal against Manchester City. That
was 1 goal. And that was at the start of the decade.
Mate,
I'd put Jamie Vardy over him.
No, you wouldn't.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's not be silly now. Let's not be silly.
I mean, who has the most consistent goal? Consecutive goals in 11 matches? Jamie Vardy. I don't think Wayne Rooney does.
I'm trying to look at this unbiasedly as well. I am trying.
Very much. I mean, I am very unbiased here because I'm the Liverpool fan. I hate both clubs, but Didier Drogba. I mean, who didn't go around the playgrounds when they were a kid doing his little DJ spinny deck thing, his celebration? It was brilliant. And knee sliding, getting your 99 shot.
I can confirm that in the decade, Wayne Rooney is the 3rd top goal scorer. Him, and he's just ahead of Romelu Lukaku in the Premier League. If Romelu Lukaku had a little bit longer, he would have been 3rd in the decade. Aguero's 1st, then Kane, then Wayne Rooney. You know what? Robin Van Persie is actually... Drogba isn't to be seen on this list, mate. Robin Van Persie could be in this argument instead of Drogba. But Drogba, again, more...
prolific. A lot more, Not
more legs to him. It's Rooney, mate. Wayne Rooney's the one.
I don't want it.
Mate.
I mean, to be fair, there are no Manchester United players in it.
There's one. You got David De Gea.
De Gea. No, I don't want him then.
Mate, you know it to be true.
It's so horrible to put another United player in there because they've had a worse decade than Liverpool, and we've only got one of those players in there.
Yeah, I mean you can I'll half give you Sterling.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess.
you can have 1.5.
Like 1.5 Liverpool players.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have your starting 11. We have a couple more things to go over, but David De Gea in goal, Kyle Walker right back, Company and John Terry at centre back, so with Azpilicueta as your left back. Your right wing Sterling, your midfield two of David Silva and Yaya Toure, your left wing spot of Hazard, your two strikers of Kane and Aguero, and a full subs bench of Petr Cech, Zabaleta, Laurent Koscielny, Kevin De Bruyne, N'Golo Kante, Mohamed Salah, and Wayne Rooney.
You know what? I'm happy with it.
I think it's good.
I think we've defined a decade here, and to have lived through this decade of football has been absolutely brilliant.
That it has.
For both of us, there's been so many highs and lows. Obviously United have dropped off, but obviously they started the decade with dominance.
Yeah.
The Wayne Rooney, and all of your team was fantastic at the start of this decade. There was no doubt about that. And then, obviously, with us, we had the slip. We got absolutely trashed by Southampton 6-1, and that's in Steven Gerrard's final game in the Premier League. We had obviously Gerrard coming on against Man United, stamping on whoever it was, and getting sent off. Yeah. We've had a lot of, but obviously we're on the biggest high that I have ever seen, and to see that we're going into the 2020s, we are probably going to win the Premier League, which is something that I never thought I'd see.
It is. It has been a phenomenal decade for football, but wait, Reese, we're missing something. There needs to be a captain of this ship. Where's the manager?
Oh,
we've got a manager to discuss. That is the last real thing for this team to discuss a Premier League manager of the decade. The Premier League is a league where managers come and go quite frequently. Clubs aren't afraid to sack.
Yeah.
Now, in this team, we're not necessarily looking for consistency and longevity of the manager. We are looking for success, really. I think we're looking for success.
I want to say one, but I can't not say another.
There's a couple of. I think there's a few arguments. I mean, I'm not necessarily looking for not to discredit them, but for the Eddie Howes and the Sean Dyches of consistency.
Roy Hodgson's and
that's not what we're after. There's a few in there.
Should we just say Jose Mourinho now?
We'll say Mourinho now and get the topic out of the way
because it's
Jose.
I mean,
Mourinho,
we mentioned him earlier. That he's won so much with Chelsea.
Won loads with Chelsea. I mean, no one can take away the fact he won the Europa League and the League Cup with United.
Yeah, he won the treble.
Yeah,
I put that in as much sarcasm as possible.
The mighty treble.
The treble winning the Community Shield as well.
The sweet.
You won a 50p coin and called it a treble.
Well, I mean,
three
trophies at United and a lot at Chelsea, and potentially some at Tottenham for this new decade. I mean, who knows?
Maybe.
Yeah, could happen.
He's also birthed my favourite line to say when trying to impersonate Jose as well. I have nothing to say. Nothing to say. So
we'll
just turn into ripping Jose Mourinho at this point.
But yeah, Mourinho is definitely up there. I mean, we've also had managers in this decade. I mean, you've had managers like Antonio Conte, Carlo Ancelotti, Manuel Pellegrini. That's just to name a few. I mean, no one can also forget Claudio Ranieri's incredible Leicester stint.
I mean, but I don't think Ranieri goes anywhere near it. He had one good season. And
he does go nowhere near it.
I mean, if you look at where Ranieri is at the minute as well, he's been sacked from the past 4 clubs.
Yeah, he's a lot. He's had some questionable things happen, hasn't he, Ranieri?
I have no idea how Leicester won it. I don't know what Ranieri did to that team,
but it happened.
But it worked.
Should we put the other name in there?
Well, there's 2.
There's 2 more. You got 2 more, yeah?
It's got to be Jurgen and Pep.
It does.
So at the minute, I think we've got 3 names, 3 candidates for manager,
and they are 3 of the most prolific managers over the past 2 decades, almost. Yeah. Jurgen Klopp came in and inherited a Liverpool team. It was a very big, drummed-up appointment. He was a manager who had a name behind him, had some success as well. Not loads at Dortmund.
He got to loads of Champions League finals. Yeah. He also Actually, he didn't get to loads. He got to one Champions League final, lost it against Bayern Munich. He also won a Bundesliga over that same Bayern Munich squad.
He did.
The Bayern Munich squad that had been dominating for so long, coming to a Liverpool team that's probably was at the time suffering the Spurs effect that's happening now.
But I mean, when he came in, everyone was expecting him to carry over these Dortmund players with him and to bring over all this stuff. And I feel like that was a very dangerous mindset to have, because Liverpool was a project.
Yeah, always. I do refer to, because we come off just dropping the league at this point, and then the season afterwards, halfway through the season, we sack Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah,
we bring in Jurgen Klopp, and it was a Jose Mourinho period right now that Jose Mourinho has to rebuild the Spurs team that just got to a Champions League final and has had an amazing run. And
let's put a bit of respect on Rodgers' name as well right now. I mean, Rodgers was a good manager in his own right.
Rodgers has been phenomenal this year,
and he has come back with Leicester. He had the stint at Celtic.
Like I said earlier, he built this Liverpool team from the remains of a despicable Kenny Dalglish, Roy Hodgson mix-about from 2011 to 2013. Comes in and builds this powerhouse of a team.
Builds a good team, and then the team falls, and then the team rises once again under Klopp. And the signings that Jurgen Klopp has made, I mean, we were only talking about this before the podcast. I mean, we've weighed them up. You can call Klavan and Alex Manninger bad signings if you want, but they're low risk and they're tactical. The only one that we argued you can maybe call a bad signing is Karius, but then again,
he cost us the Champions League.
He cost you the Champions League. But
he had a good season that year.
But a £4 million goalkeeper, low risk.
Mm-hmm. It cost us chips.
Yeah,
it cost us chips compared to what we.
And then the rest of Klopp signings, they're in the history books. You know, it's Salah, Mane,
Virgil.
Alisson
has been one of the biggest signings of the decade.
Fabinho, Robertson. I mean, nourishing Trent into the player he's become. I mean, Trent. I mean, he was a project again in his own right. But look at what's happened with him.
Nurturing Joe Gomez as well.
Joe Gomez, Wijnaldum, Shaqiri. These are players just to name a few. And then on the other side of the coin, you've got Pep Guardiola, a manager with more success than Klopp,
more trophies than we have fingers combined.
Yeah. The serial trophy winner in world football. Him and Jose Mourinho are the top dogs.
Yeah.
You want someone to come in. You want trophies. You've got a good team, but you need to win the trophies. You get Mourinho and you get Pep in, don't you?
Although I would love to see Pep Guardiola go off after the season and go to a team that is struggling. You know,
I think everyone wants to see that, because they want to see, oh, well, can he do this? Can he do that?
Because all the players that he had, like before, he had Kevin De Bruyne before.
He only inherits good teams.
He went into Barcelona. He already had Samuel Eto'o, Lionel Messi. He had Ronaldinho for a little bit.
If we're talking pure managerial signings and everything, though, you've got players like Claudio Bravo, who he brought in.
Rodri.
I mean, Rodri, I think is early to say. I mean, Bravo, I think was a poor signing.
Yeah.
I think I'll say it. Ben Mendy was a poor signing. That's what I
mean, he's very injury prone. That's the problem.
A good player when he started, but I think there's way better left backs than him.
He does. He is very questionable when it comes to the transfer window. He does inherit very good teams and just wins trophies with them. His philosophy. And
Robertson and Chilwell are years ahead of Mendy.
Absolutely, Robertson's a leg and a foot.
Yeah,
you know.
But at the same time, Pep's won titles of City. Jurgen Klopp's won the Champions League with Liverpool. Something which, again, I didn't see happening.
Back to back.
Even though I'm looking at the team in front of me and I'm like, yeah, this is a really good team, I still didn't see it happening.
No, I mean, I didn't.
I mean, when it got to the Champions League final, I think everyone kind of knew which way it was swinging.
Yeah, everyone and their dog knew that Liverpool was going to win that final.
But here we are. Jurgen Klopp. How long's Jurgen Klopp been at Liverpool now?
Since 2016. He
said 4 years in this decade.
4 years. Pep Guardiola was, I think, the season afterwards.
Yeah.
So
and Mourinho's had longer in the league with 3 clubs. He's managed,
and he's won Premier League this decade as well.
Yeah.
He's won the Premier League, which is something that Klopp is yet to do.
European title in the Europa League.
He wasn't the manager when when Chelsea won the Champions League, was he?
No.
He was at Inter Milan at that point, I think.
Real Madrid, I think.
Was it Real Madrid?
Yeah.
Who is it going to be? I have Klopp and Jose.
I have Klopp and Jose as well. And that is again with massive disrespect to Pep, because Pep, I don't care what anyone says. I do think Pep's a good manager.
He is
in his own right. Different kind of manager. Not all managers are the same. Klopp and Jose Mourinho.
Jurgen is different gravy though, isn't he?
He's the manager you'd love to hate and hate to love.
I'm so glad that he signed that extension. I was fearing for my life that he was going to Bayern Munich at the end of the season.
I think he's still going to end up there.
He signed a new deal though. So.
He signed a new deal, but he'll end up at Bayern at some point in his career. I think
maybe he does when 2024 happens.
Or the German national manager. Maybe he enjoys a ridiculous stint of power with Liverpool and then goes and becomes the German manager.
Maybe, or maybe he just does enjoy being the manager of a club that has a working class fan base.
Maybe
he came from Borussia Dortmund, who it's the working man's club.
But then again, though, I mean, throughout the first last decade, you had Alex Ferguson was undoubtedly the manager of the decade.
You've got
arguably the decade before that as well. But then Jose Mourinho was second. But although Ferguson was here, Jose Mourinho was a concrete second. Are we really not going to give Jose Mourinho the chance to become the best manager in the world?
I'm sorry, Jurgen, but yeah, I do believe that Jose Mourinho is the manager of the decade.
Or is he?
It's so hard to pinpoint.
It's hard
if you go off trophies and managerial, but then you got a third season, shenanigans with Mourinho. The amount of times he's been sacked.
Yeah,
he hasn't left the club.
He's been sacked.
Jurgen left Borussia Dortmund, and he hasn't been sacked from Liverpool because he's done such a fantastic job.
Pep and Jurgen haven't been sacked.
No.
And I feel like Jurgen tactically, and he's built that team. No one can ever take that away from him. He built that team.
Yeah,
he's done that.
He's built a Liverpool team from the ground up,
Reece, Jose, Jurgen.
You know what? There's too many United players. There's one Liverpool player. We're having the Liverpool manager. Jurgen Klopp is the manager of the decade.
You're going to go for Jurgen, yeah? You know what? We'll have Jurgen. And Jose Mourinho is going to go on the theoretical subs bench of managers.
Yeah, the assistant manager.
Yeah, the assistant manager.
Although we can't forget Little Sam.
We can't exactly break down all of the assistant managers in the league and the coaches and everything. I wish we had time.
Oh, me too. But I mean, we do. But it would just be too long. Our butts would go numb.
But Jurgen Klopp, there you go, is your manager of the decade.
So shall we run through the starting 11 and the subs bench?
One more time.
As Daft Punk said.
David De Gea in goal. Walker, Company, Terry and Azpilicueta. Sterling, Silva, Torre, Hazard. Kane and Aguero. That is your starting 11. And your subs bench, Petr Cech, Zabaleta, Koscielny, De Bruyne, Salah and Rooney, and your manager of the decade, Mr. Jurgen Klopp. There we go, guys.
2019 is over. The 2010s as a decade is over.
Coming to an end. We will be continuing the Average Pundits going into the new decade as normal.
Stay tuned. We got some big things planned. Trust us.
We have got big things planned. Big, exciting.
Big pipelines.
Things. We want to thank all of the guests we've had so far this year. This year we've had some absolutely brilliant content with some brilliant guests. Special thanks to Mr. Dominic Hebron, Brad Worrell. Who else we've got? We've got Samos, Mr. Alex Smith, Big Dogs manager, Mr. Harry O'Neill, Big Al Forsyth as well. We've honestly, guys, you guys have made some absolutely brilliant episodes, some great content,
and you guys listening, it makes us want to do it way more. The support has been absolutely phenomenal. Those that have been listening week in, week out, we appreciate every single one of you. It's a real Christmas treat for us. To have made this and get this out to you guys. We're working so hard to make sure that we get this out to you. And hopefully you guys can repay us and just share it, love, keep loving what we do, comment. Those who do want to come on, if you do have a very big passion for a Premier League club, do get in contact with us. We have a business email.
For those who don't know, we are two University of Worcester students, journalism students in our second year. We just love football. We're just passionate about football. Hence the name. we just want to get this out as much as possible. We enjoy doing it. We love having people on.
Yeah.
And, we talk about football till the cows come home.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean, it's like we've done today. We've got a massive debate, and this has been fun. This has been great.
It's been a great episode.
2019 has been fantastic for podcasting.
Yeah.
And we're going to continue it. We've got such a drive and a passion. So those that are looking to get in contact, the Twitter at Pundits Average, because Twitter hates me. I'm going to keep that up. And Instagram at Average Pundits. Also, our business email, theaveragepundits@outlook.com, for those who are all looking to get in contact with us. For business ideas, or even if you want to come on the show, we can do some arrangements and get you on to talk about your favourite Premier League club.
We can indeed.
We can talk at length with you. It'd be fantastic to get the experience of those teams that aren't necessarily that aren't widely known. You've got Manchester United, Liverpool, Man City fans everywhere.
Yeah.
In our area, it's Aston Villa and Birmingham fans that are obviously they're in the Championship.
Yeah,
but Aston Villa and Wolves fans at the minute. We don't know necessarily any Chelsea fans, Everton fans, Crystal Palace.
Guys, we know you guys are out there, and we would love to have you guys on.
Absolutely. So keep supporting. Keep keeping up with our social medias. Graphics will be done for all of these. All of the Christmas goods, and look forward to everything in 2020, because we're coming up.
And guys, have a brilliant Christmas, have a very happy New Year, and we will be back very shortly with all of your new football news. We've got the January transfer window to look forward to, guys.
I think we've got a big one.
Big episode coming.
We shall see you for New Year's.
Yeah,
the New Year's bash, we're going to call it.
The New Year's bash. Thank you very much, guys, and see you soon.